In this tutorial, we're going to take this photograph and we're going to make it look like a painting. We want to get that nice watercolored, hand-painted effect. So what we're going to do first of all is boost the saturation a little bit, because a lot of the time painters tend to use brighter colors than you sometimes find in nature. So let's use Command U, and that would be Control U on Windows to bring up the hue saturation. So what we're going to do is just boost the saturation just a little bit. We don't have to overdo it, but just give it a little bit of a boost and click OK. And there's a reason we're applying it straight to the layer and not as an adjustment layer. That's because we're going to use the history brush. So let's go under the history panel, and if you don't have that available, just go here and you'll find history right there inside the window menu. So what we want to do is take a snapshot. Just click that little picture of a camera, and now we have this snapshot here. Now the reason we're creating a snapshot is because every time we do something with any of the tools, we're going to create a new history state. Let me just open the history down and you can see these states. And once we get to the point when all those states are used up, it's going to start to replace the early ones with the new ones. So if we keep a snapshot, that snapshot's always going to be there. Now we're going to grab the art history brush. If you look under the history brush, you'll see the art history, and this works in the history panel. So how does it work together? Well, what we simply do is, if you see a state here, if we tap on that edge in that little box, what it tells us is we're going to paint from this state. So it doesn't matter what happens here or what happens to this picture. When we paint with this brush, we're always going to get this state. So we're going to work from our snapshot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to fill it with black. So hit the D key to reset the foreground and background color. With your layer selected, choose this keyboard shortcut. Use Command Delete. Actually, Option Delete for the foreground color. Command Delete would be the background color. And that would be Alt Backspace on Windows. And now we've filled that with black. And now we can actually start painting now with our snapshot. So let's just hide this down a little bit. Before we get in here and start going crazy, we need to set up some brush dynamics. So what we actually want to work on, if you look under here, we're going to choose let's choose a brush first. Let's start with, say, the 65 soft edge. And then we want to go into Shape Dynamics and set Size to Pen Pressure. And if other dynamics are turned on, turn it off. So we just want to work with that right now. So now we're going to go back over our document, and we want to start with an option here. Let's change our mode. Let's go up to normal mode. And then we're going to work in tight medium. Now what happens is when I start to drag, notice that as I press hard, it gets these big, big strokes. And that's actually how we want to start, just a rough, very rough underpainting. Alright. Obviously this looks like a big mess. Now if we want to get more detail, what we need to do is just go down and press a little lighter. And notice as we press lighter, it starts to get us more detail. So we're pressing a little bit lighter now, and we're just starting to build up some more detail. We still want to have it look like an underpainting. So we're not worried too much right now about it looking perfect or seeing too much in our photo. So there we go. So we're starting to build that up. Now we want to actually add some detail in here. So we're going to change this from type medium. Let's go down to the dab. And now just use a very, very light touch. And with a very light touch, we can start to put some of that detail in there. Now, if you find that you're having a hard job doing it this light, you can simply adjust the brush size down a little bit. And then you don't have to go quite so light on the touch to bring out the detail. So here we are, bringing out the detail on this plant now. Just working our way around this plant. And you can see how it's starting to take shape. You can leave it very rough around the edges if you like, just for the effect. And I'm just starting to build that up, and see how this is really starting to look like something that was hand painted. And I might actually just stop there and keep the rest of it looking a bit rough, because then it gives it that really organic kind of a look. Now, we've created our hand paint. What about giving it a little bit of texture? And we can easily do that. What we're going to do is we're going to go up under Filter, and then under Filter go down to Texture, and then choose Texturizer. Now you're going to see this option here that comes up, and we can play around with this. If you feel it's too big, just drop the relief down a little bit and it makes the texture go away. You can change the scaling to make the canvas bigger or smaller. So let's drop the relief down a little bit more too, so it just makes it a little smoother, and then click OK. And then we go, we've applied our canvas effect. Let's just double tap right now on our magnifying. And then by doing that, now we can see at 100%, we can see exactly what we're getting. And look at that, that's the hand painting effect.